All right, so let's talk about the crazy cycle. And this is where, whenever a contractor is either on the brink of burnout or bankruptcy, this is usually what they're on, what I call the crazy cycle. So most of the time, new contractors starting 1, 2, maybe 3 years in business, and they're not getting any traction. They're working all the time. They think they need to hire people, but they're working. And so, they're working, let's say 80 hours a week. Okay, they're working 80 hours a week. That's not really sustainable long term, right? You can do that for a short period of time, 6 months to get started, whatever. But year 2 or 3, you shouldn't be working 80 hours a week. So you do this and you're working and working and working. And then at this point, if you're married or if you have kids or a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, people start complaining, you start complaining like, I'm burnt out, I can't, this period of working 80 hours a week, you start to burn out, right? But then also people start complaining. Your wife's complaining, your wife or your spouse complains that you're not home, you're missing kids' events. And so during this whole journey, you got wife and kids and hobbies that you want to do, but you don't have, right? Because you don't have time. So after a period of time, you say, okay, I need a break. I'm starting to burn out. I need to work less hours. I just won't work on the weekends or whatever. And so at this point is where you take a break. Okay? So you take a break. But what happens is, as you're on this break, what happens to your cash flow, right? It goes down. Your money goes way down, right? So you're making less money. So after a period of time, you're like, okay, this is great. I'm spending time with family and kids, but we're not making enough money. We can't, we got bills to pay, right? We can't pay the bills. So what do you instinctively do when you don't have enough money? You start working more, right? And so you go back to working 80 hours. And then you do this for a period of time. And then guess what happens again? The wife, the kids, right? Hobbies, all these things go away, essentially. And so you're back here, and then you realize, you know what? I need to take a break, right? And then you do this again, and this is the crazy cycle. Because we think this is all there is to owning a business in life. We're just on a crazy cycle of rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And eventually what happens is you either do one of these working hours for too long that you just go, instead of going to taking a break, you basically just go and then you just hit rock bottom and you have complete burnout, right? It's not worth it. Owning a construction business is too hard. It's not worth it. Or the other thing is we decide we don't want to work no matter what. Our health's important. And so instead of working 80 hours, we take a break. Let's go here. We take a break too long. And then what happens? We run out of money. And so we end up going bankrupt. We get behind on our bills. We can't pay vendors. One job goes south. We lose money on it. We're upside down on everything. And so it's just easier to just go bankrupt, right? And so in this situation, if you're on the crazy cycle and you don't get off, the only two options you're going to have eventually is either bankruptcy or burnout. That's it. That's your options. So what you have to do is say, what am I doing wrong here? What am I missing? What's the missing piece of this? Because I know other people, they aren't working 80 hours a week. They're only working 40 hours a week, and they have plenty of money. How are they able to do that? How can they do that? Because I'm working 80 or I'm losing money. How are they able to work 40 hours a week, or maybe 45, whatever, what's, reasonable. and they're making lots of money. I don't understand. And so the only way out of the crazy cycle is to start asking questions, which is, what am I doing wrong? Because I'm telling you, this right here is not what owning a business is about. This is not a healthy business. This is what most contractors are on, and it's not healthy. So you have to start asking the questions, what am I doing wrong? And if you start asking the right questions, you'll start getting the right results.